I'm Victor Sarabanfo. I'm a software developer. I have about 5 to 6 years experience with PHP programming language. And my experience with Laravel has been very, very interesting. To be very honest, very, very interesting. I mean, I started Laravel about, let's say, 3 to 4 years ago. Yeah, I was still a junior developer at the Africa Economic Forum. That was an NGO organization. And I was just given a task to do. And I discovered that then with Laravel, there's a lot of structures that made things easier to achieve with Laravel, especially the MVC model, that's the model view and controller. And the fact that all my codes can be, structured properly. I don't have to have a robust page, process.php file, or a function page or something. Everything is separated, and I don't have to model a lot of my codes together. I have my models one side, I have my views, I have my controllers, that's my logic. And I saw it as very interesting. At first, I was given a project to achieve with PHP. But out of my own, I'm always very eager to learn, and I really like to take on new challenges. I decided to use Laravel to try it. Although at first, that was my first project. It was VSA, I think Volunteer Service Africa now. And I decided that, okay, let me try Laravel with it. And when I used Laravel, I overcomplicated myself. A lot of things I could have done easier with PHP, I overcomplicated myself with Laravel because then I was still a newbie. But then when I started doing a lot of projects with Laravel, I really loved it, and it made a lot of my work simpler, especially the authentication system where you have to use Breeze, or you can use Laravel UI itself. These things made my work easier. I don't have to start writing, building authentication, scaffold and all that. Everything is just there. I just have to run, a command, artisan command that will just give me some files, and I just do my logic. It's really an interesting experience. Okay, my background in coding, it's a very rough one. I could remember back then, I started coding about 7 years or 8 years ago. That was the first time I came across anything called code. I remember starting coding with SoloLearn. SoloLearn, I remember that compiler then in SoloLearn enabled us to run little HTML tags like that. We just combine these tags together, create a very long lines of code. We were just, kind of creative then. I was in my 200 level in those days, and it was really, really very interesting. At first, it was interesting. I didn't know there were a lot of challenges. I remember building my first website with SoloLearn, an app on my phone. I started learning on my mobile phone then, and because we never had access to laptop, and because of the country we are in, there's a lot of, some devices are really expensive, especially owning a laptop was a luxury. And so I found it very difficult to get a laptop of myself. And I would learn with my phone. And at the end of the day, many years passed. It was a struggle then. I remember having my first gig, I was paid 5,000 naira. I passed that stage, and I was very good at HTML, CSS then, and JavaScript. That was what I learned with SoloLearn. Then I started watching a lot of tutorials, especially this man now, Traversy Media. I learned a lot from him. He shaped my front end by programming. So I started working with a team where I work with the front end. Then I deliver the HTML template, the front end codes, and everything. Zip them and send it to the back end. The back end guys will do it. So after 2 or 3 years, I became, restless. I can do this thing, I can do this thing. Why do I have to do the front end alone, zip these things and take it or send it to a back end guy? The back end guy in our team was really frustrating, and he was, kind of feeling like there's no one like him and all that. I'm like, me too, I can do this thing. Don't you think I should learn it? So I remember taking my first PHP lectures from this guy on YouTube. What was his name now? Meanwhile, I've been a self-taught developer all my life until I was able to get an internship opportunity at the NGO organization where they even employed me. They employed me as an intern, but they were still paying me. They were paying me money. And I was learning. They attached me to a senior software developer, and that guy taught me a lot of things. I learned a lot of things. In fact, that was when I knew about systems. I knew about roles, administration, and privileges, and other things in a system. High-level stuff that I've never done before. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of things. And in fact, from that point, I lost interest in front-end. From that point, I lost interest in front-end development because it was really not interesting to me again. I'm like, no. There's really a lot of things to do. Authentication, password, session management, a lot of cool stuff, scraping, and like visitor login, tracking, and a lot of stuff with back-end development, especially with Laravel. I was like, no, this is so much. So I had to reduce my concentration on front-end development because I could easily get a front-end template and work and deliver. But I was so much engrossed in back-end, and it has been really a great one. I learned a lot from YouTube guys. People like founder of WebIT, that is an Indian. People like Traversy Media, people like, there's one guy like that, Toots. Now he goes by the name Danny Crossing or something. I learned a lot from those guys. I remember learning login systems with them. A lot of nice stuff from them. Those guys were really cool guys. Then finally, my previous work experience is in coding. Professionally, I started working for a company in, I believe, I can't really tell now, maybe 2021 or 2020, thereabouts. But that was about 5 to 6 years ago. And I could remember working for Osler Systems. Then as an intern, I could remember I've worked for a lot of people now, a lot of companies. But my biggest companies, the people that I would never forget, is the company that gave me my first opportunity to become who I am today, confident and a lot of things I've picked on because they attached me to a senior developer, someone who has spent about 11 to 12 or 13 years of his life coding, doing this thing over and over again. And so I had a lot to pick from this guy, picked a lot of things from him. So I've worked with African Economic Forum. I worked with them for like about 2 or 3 years. I've worked with Fontainebleau. I've worked with Magistro. I'm currently with Magistro. I'm just working as a CTO there. What I do now is kind of administrative because I'm the co-founder, although I built the entire website and the system they're using to date from scratch. I built it on my own, but now I handle administration and I don't really do much of coding again. And that's why I decided to apply for this job. So these are my work experiences. There are some in my CV now that I can't really recollect, and there are some I couldn't feature in my CV because there will be so much. So I just had to put the ones I had remarkable experiences and the one I actually learned a lot from, and which is that. Thank you very much.